Jeff, Arizona Hot Homestead. Today's video is about field dressing a white-tailed deer that we got up in Nebraska. Now, just for my little disclosure, hunting is obviously not for everyone. This video shows the field dressing of a white-tailed deer, and I'm going to narrate this video. Blood may be visible, it obviously may be graphic, and really consider yourself warned. So that spot that you're seeing right there, that's the exit. It's a 30-06, average 30-06 that was used. Shot was about, maybe about 80 yards to 90 yards. My buddy, that's my buddy there, he's going to actually do the cleaning. I'm going to mainly just be in the foreground there holding the deer open. Some of the shots aren't going to be perfect, so you're not going to see a whole lot of detail in this, just because I've got it sitting on a tripod, and then and I'm trying to help hold it, and I can't really move the camera and move the deer as we're trying to do everything all at once. So kind of forgive me ahead of time on some of the camera work here. What we're doing now is we're spreading them wide open. There's different ways to get started. We like to kind of start from the lower end, just because there's a lot of room for him just to grab onto the skin there and pull up, and then he can shove his knife up in there. Knife he's using is a serrated Cutco knife, and I'll get into that knife a little bit later in the video. But basically, these knives that we use, we've cut many deer, skinned them and all that, and we've yet to sharpen our knives. It does a pretty decent job. Now, like I said, what he's doing now is he's just trying to get it started. He's working up towards the sternum, and the skin is very thick, and so a lot of times when you're cutting into it, you think that you're skinning them, and you still need to go a little deeper. But you got to be careful, because down in that belly area, you do not want to poke the belly or the organs, the intestines, anything like that, because it's just going to stink really bad, and if it gets on the meat, it poisons the meat instantly. What he's doing now is he's working on the chest. You want to open up the chest to make it easier to get to the heart and cut it up in there, and cut the esophagus and things like that. With the serrated blade, it makes it a little bit easier because you use it as a saw basically. And instead of cutting the sternum, he's cutting on the side of the sternum, to where all he's got to do is cut the ribs themselves, and it makes it for a lot easier cut. And he's just going to cut down to a point, and he may continue and may stop and come back to it. There's really no serious method other than you just got to get the stuff out as soon as possible. That membrane that's holding all the organs to the ribs and to the back and to the insides, that's what you just want to take apart or cut apart. What he's doing now is he's going towards the bottom half, and he's got to cut around some of those private parts, if you will. You got to be real careful, because again, you don't want to cut into any of that stuff. So he's trying to cut around it, and he's trying to be careful not to cut organs, not to the intestines, and he's just working his way down there. Now, I've seen some people field dress a deer when the deer is hanging. I find that very difficult. Field dressing them like this is actually easy. If you don't have another person with you to help hold them open, you can use branches, you can use rock, you can use rope, and tie down the legs open. And by doing so, it works pretty well. I've actually field dressed deers in the past out in the open, where I've had to literally tie it down, tie one leg to a tree and another leg to another tree, and that's why you bring some extra rope. What I'm doing now is I'm folding up his sleeves. You want to make sure that, because you're going to stick your arms up in there, he's got gloves on. He's got just standard latex gloves. You don't really want to get the blood on your pants or your jacket or even on your skin, just because it's difficult to get off of your clothing, for one. And two, the latex gloves gives them a little bit better grip onto the organs. You don't need it. When I do it, I don't have any latex gloves. He likes to have it. So he's just gripping up inside and pulling. And as he pulls, he's using that blade to help cut that membrane that's holding the all the organs to the body, basically. What we're going to do is we'll save the heart. We will save the liver. My buddy there likes to throw the heart into a crock pot. And then my dad loves the liver, so what we'll do is we'll give him the liver. Again, I apologize for the angle. If we had a third person, we can have him move the camera on us. Third person's actually still hunting. Again, this is the Nebraska white-tailed deer near Grand Islands. We're hunting by permission of the landowner. So again, he's just trying to be real careful cutting organs, and a lot of times when you're in there cutting that stuff away, you think you've got it, but you're still cutting. In this case here, I think he's got it, but he doesn't think so, so he's still cutting it. The main reason for field dressing a deer out in the right after the shot is two things. One, to cool down the meat as quickly as possible. Another thing is, by removing all the insides, you'll reduce the weight. Now, some people will actually leave all the insides in there and just take the hide and take all the meat on there. That's not what we do. We always remove the guts. We kind of feel like the guts need to be out there for the coyotes, and then we'll it makes it easier for us to carry the deer later. And we've never butchered the deer before, so we're getting into that now. So I won't have any videos of butchering it, but I will have something at some point in time. Again, he's just working down. Now, if you noticed here, he was working down there and he gave up and he went back up towards the top. There's nothing wrong with doing that. What he's basically does is he kind of changes, kind of give a fresh look at cutting it, and then goes up and kind of gives himself a break as he's doing it, if you will. There's that pelvis bone down in there you got to cut, because you got to remove the inner cord. And what he's doing there is he's actually trying to cut that with that knife. And a lot of times, if you open them up just right, you can break that bone. In fact, my dad's taken a knife and a rock and just broke that bone down in there. And once you break that bone, then you just take that tube and just pulls right up through it. Now there's a there's different kinds of tools that you can use. What I'm doing right now is I'm getting up to go get a little knife that's got a plastic end to it, and I'll show a picture of it in the end of the video, but basically it's just a little bone saw, and with the plastic end it's not sharp on the end, so it won't cut into the organs, so you won't hit the intestines or anything like that. So I'm getting it out of my pack now. See, I don't know if you can see what it looks like there in my pictures, but I'm just kind of going through. And it's interesting because as I'm doing it, I'm getting not getting a good angle, and it gets caught on something. But I get it enough to where we crack it open. Now there's probably better ways of field dressing an animal, but this is the way we do it, and it works for us. And since this video is actually real time, it ends up only taking us about 15-18 minutes to field dress this one. A lot of times when you're down there trying to cut stuff out, you end up not cutting the right membranes, and you have to go back in and cut some more. You kind of see off to the side there, towards the top of the video. It's pretty much all the insides right over there. Let's see, I'm grabbing the Ziploc bags. Having the Ziploc bags are kind of nice because what we're doing now is we're going to put the liver and the heart into the Ziploc bags, and they are really pretty bloody and juicy and wet, and so by putting them in there, when you then put it in your pack, it doesn't get anything else wet or bloody. So this is kind of nice. It keeps it clean too. Apologize, I didn't move it up a little bit. I didn't think of it at the time. I'm just thinking we gotta get this deer clean. What's kind of neat too is when you're cutting open the deer and you're looking at the and if the lungs are still intact, when you're cutting open it and you puncture the lung, you can just hear that just like a balloon, not necessarily popping, but a balloon just losing its air. It's kind of like a bladder losing its air. It's kind of cool actually. See, now what we're doing here is the blood that's still in there, we need to drain out that blood. So we're lifting them up to drain out as much blood as possible. It's easy to lift this way because the bottom we've already cut open, and the antlers and the legs in the front just made it a little bit easier. Now he's going to stick a stick in between these in this rib cage. Reason for that is to help keep it open. You know, a lot of times you'll do that to help to keep it cool, but a lot of times you'll do that because if you want to get in there and do some extra cleaning, it's always good, I think, to have a couple of extra water bottles and to go in there and just kind of rinse off the inside. It's not something you don't have to do, but you know, if you can do it, you can kind of keep the loins, the inside loins in there a little bit cleaner, and the warm blood doesn't sit on it. So there you go. Basically that thing is done, and it's been what, roughly 15 minutes. So now I think, what are we doing now? I think we're just admiring it. We're like, nice shot, dude. That animal went down in one shot. He got him a little bit higher than what he truly wanted to, but still it was a good enough shot that he just fell, and that was the end of him. So a lot of times you want to go for the neck area. By going through the neck area, you can save a lot of the meat, and also by going with the neck area, you can hit that esophagus and the main artery up in the neck, and by doing that, you can keep them from running. I hate when I shoot an animal and he doesn't go down on the first shot. That drives me nuts. So basically, we're done. What we're doing is we're just kind of cleaning up and packing everything up, and that's the cleaning of a whitetail deer. Alright, so we ain't going to get much of a video on this because it's dark. But here she is. Here he is, huh? Just a little 4x. So we're going to skin it off, take off all the hide, and then once the hide's done, we go from there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comments. Arizona Hot Homestead. See you on the next video. Look at the turkey. A couple weeks before Thanksgiving even. They're out there getting fat. But we're deer hunting. I'd rather have a deer. They got a lot more meat on them than that guy does. Besides, I have a 30-06. Just think what a 30-06 would do to a turkey. You know, if they're lined up right, maybe a 30-06, I can get 3 or 4 of them all at once. So to conclude this video, here are my knives. I promised I'd show you at the end. This knife here is all we cleaned out the deer with. As you can tell, it's a serrated blade. Oh, looks like it needs to be a little bit of cleaning. We also skinned the animal with this knife. It's obviously the sheath or sheath. And this is that saw that I was telling you about, that bone saw. And it's just a nice small little saw that you do, and this is what keeps from damaging the intestines. So there's the saws that we use. I'll actually put a link to Arizona Hot Homestead store on the things used on the website, or things used on the homestead, so you can look these up there, and if you want to get some, get one or whatever. So, but they're pretty useful. Like I've said, multiple deer, you have yet to sharpen it. But if I don't know how to sharpen a serrated blade, all I gotta do is send it in, and they'll sharpen it for free for me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. Jeff, Arizona Homestead.